Welcome to Fabulosity For You, and my name is Angie. If this is your first time visiting my channel, please click the subscribe button, then click the notification bell so when I upload videos, you'll be the first to know. Like this video and make a comment. This channel is about fashion, relationship advice, and lifestyle. And if this is not your first time visiting my channel, well, welcome back, my queen, and welcome to the kings out there. Welcome to all of my new fabulous ones, and welcome back to my returning fabulous ones. Welcome. Today I am doing the 90-day Fiancé before the 90 days, season 7, episode 20, the tell-all part 1. Okay, so today is Ratchet Wednesday. It's Ratchet Wednesday. And today is the 90-day Fiancé review. Okay, so before we get right into it, go get your drink of choice, go get your snack of choice, and come back and sit with your girl, Angie. Text, email, call. You better stick a letter in a bottle, baby, and let everybody know that Angie is on the line. So we're going to get right into this episode. Okay, so it starts off with Lauren. He's coming to the tell-all and he's getting off the train. So he's coming out of the train like an L station. And then we have Niles, and Niles is coming up in a car and he's talking to Matilda on the phone, and he's saying, squish, squish, squishy, squishy, I wish I can squishy your cheeks. And he's kissing her through the phone. And he's like, listen, if I get out of hand, if I start getting real upset, make sure you bring me down and calm me down. And so she was like, I got you. I got your back. I got your back. I got your back. Okay. And then it showed Brian. And Brian is like on this mission to make Ingrid look bad. You know, he knows he was the bad guy, and he don't want to be the bad guy. He's like, oh no, I can tell you guys some things about her. She's not all that innocent and all of the things. Man, bad. And then you have Vanya. Vanya comes in, honey. And then you have Tiger Lily and Adonai. And honey, they the ones that came in like they were some superstars, honey. They got out their truck, their black truck. Adonai, he is in the United States. When you got paper, your visa not gonna take as long. And honey, he had on his sunglasses. He had a bucket hat on. He had him a little designer jacket, honey, and his designer glasses. And he was walking in like he was somebody. Tiger Lily, she was looking like a Muslim woman, honey. She was covered from her head. She had this cute hairpiece on her head. And then she had, it was like jewelry or something. And then she was covered from the top of her neck all the way down to her, to the ground, honey. She was a Muslim woman. And she was following her man, baby. They came in like they were some rock stars, okay? So Lauren sits down. Well, Brian was there, and then Lauren comes up, and he asks Lauren, he didn't waste no time. He was like, do you still have your venereal disease? I'm like, no, he didn't, honey. He was busting him all the way out. And he was explaining, no, that just only lasted a week, and da-da-da-da-da. And then Adonai was talking garbage, honey, to his wife. They just gonna be jealous of us, and they're gonna try to act like I'm so controlling, and they're gonna try to talk about us, and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so then Vanya came and sat down, and she looked like she was going to a pageant, honey. She had this long sequins dress. And then they were asking her about Baza, I think his name is Baza. And they started talking about how Adonai is controlling and all of the things. So Niles walks up, and Niles in this episode, honey, he is doing the most. He busting everybody out. He has a comment about everything. Now, everybody has something to say about somebody. And it just kills me because everybody on there was not telling the truth. They was doing some things they had no business doing, leaving out information, which is still a lie. So it's like, how you throwing rocks and your house is glass? How you doing that? But they all was doing it. And they couldn't stand Lauren. So they get into the reunion. I think her name is Sean, the host. She goes to each couple and she says, before she did all of that, she said that Chili, I think Chidi and Renee were not going to be at the tell-all. I was surprised because I thought everybody had to come to the tell-all. But the way they ended, I do understand. Renee was so angry. They would have bought some spice. She would have bought some spice to the reunion. So I'm kind of sad that she didn't come. But nevertheless, everybody was there. Everybody else was there. We had Joe and Magda. Magda was on the screen. And when Joe went to visit Magda, she never did have her face made up. So she was already a natural beautiful woman. But honey, with her makeup, she was striking. She was so beautiful. Very beautiful. And then we had Boza was there. It looked the same, honey. Broke. And they had, let's see who else was there. They had Vaya and Sonny. They both was on the screen. They said that Vaya, when she came back from South Africa, she got sick. And sometimes that happens when you go to different countries and you've been eating their food and you get back to the United States, you could have a parasite, all kinds of stuff. Whatever it was, she said she lost 50 pounds. And she was not a big woman to be losing 50 pounds. So she's very, very, very slim. But she was sitting up there looking like a broke down Britney Spears with those two ponytails. But she looked okay. She looked okay. I hope she feels better. And so Sonny was there on the screen. And then we had, let's see, we had Niles, and then Matilda was on the screen. And then we had Faith on the screen. Faith had her face made up, so she looked better with her face made up. She looked nice. And so everybody was in attendance. And so they started with Vanya and Boza. And so they showed this clip where Vanya was showing Baza that he did say he loved her. So they was like, why would you play with this girl's emotions? Why would you do that? And he was like, well, I didn't I don't know why I said I loved her. I really didn't mean like I loved her. As a friend. I just didn't have a connection with her. And it is what it is. I didn't want to lead her on. And they was like, wait a minute, come on. What is the reason? Everybody was on her. What is the reason? Why did you do that? And so finally he said, well, to be honest with you, I feel like she was out of my league. And I believe that answer. She was out of his league. Vanya had 4 jobs, a home, beautiful clothes, bags. She had it going on. Beautiful home, And what did he have? He was living with his aunt. He was living with his mother. He had absolutely nothing. In fact, in his hometown, it was like he was a clown. He was a jokester. He was a bozo. He was a real bozo. He told jokes and people, gave him a cookie or gave him some candy. He got free ice cream, Everybody know he didn't have a job. He played basketball all day, which was recreation. It wasn't anything he was getting paid for. And he was not honest with Vanya that he didn't have nothing. And so that's why his first girlfriend left him, because he didn't ever take her nowhere. He didn't have any money. And I can't, people were really on him. But my thing is, Vanya needed to take responsibility for her actions. She didn't ask him, why was you living with your mama and your aunt? She didn't ask him, why don't you have a job? She should have known he wasn't playing. I think she thought he was playing professional ball player, but the man was real short. What did he didn't have anything. So she was not taking accountability for not asking questions that she needed to answer. She needed to ask. And so when you're talking on the phone and that's all you can do, you should be asking important questions. Not, what did you have for dinner today? She should have been like, why are you living with your family? What do you do for a living? Why are you playing basketball? You're 38 or whatever age he is. I mean, she just did not ask the right questions because guess what? She didn't care. She didn't care. And so I think he knew she was out of his league, even though she said she was coming. Maybe he didn't think she was really going to come. And he didn't have nothing else better to do but to talk on the phone. He didn't have a job. So I just think that she should have dug deeper into who this guy was before she got on the plane and spent money for a plane ticket. So that's on her. That's how I feel. And so when she got there, he would have to tell her, I don't have a job, I don't have anything. And would she still want him? But as she is with men, she's so hard up for a man, she probably would have accepted him anyway. So I believe that answer. Nobody else really believed it. They were like, well, no, do you have a girlfriend? Joe was like, I think he got a girlfriend. And he was like, I don't have a girlfriend. Now, it came up that the ex-girlfriend contacted Vanya and said they were supposed to, I think they were supposed to get engaged, and she wanted to know the time frame they was talking. And it did seem like that it overlapped. But at the end of the day, he wasn't taking her nowhere. And so why would she even care or want to be with this man? I don't know. And so everybody was on him. Niles was, you're not right. That's not how you do people. And Vanya was steady crying every time he was talking. And do I think that he was not attracted to her? I think that he was attracted to her, but like he said, I think that, she was out of his league. And then she had this real perky personality, and maybe when they got in person, even though she was attractive, he just wasn't really liking her like that. And it happens. And get over it. It is what it is. And so next we're going to go into Lauren and Faith. And so Shine asked Lauren and Faith, are they back together? And Lauren said, we're back together. We are engaged. And before I get into them, let me back it up. So Bozo was in the hot seat, okay? And Vanya was asking him, why didn't you give us a chance? As soon as I got off the second day, you was already telling me that you didn't want to be bothered. And he was trying to deny it. And bottom line is, he said, listen, I gotta go. I have a important Zoom call. And it's at 10 o'clock at night. So everybody was like, a Zoom call? And Vanya was like, you don't even work. Don't do that. Don't leave me on this stage. Have respect. Let's finish talking. But see, this is what he does. And he got up on it. He was like, I see you. I ain't got time for all of this. And to be honest with you, I don't blame him. I mean, everybody was jumping on him. The bottom line is, he didn't want her. And how many times do we have to say, I didn't want you? And why I didn't want you? It is what it is. I wouldn't have stood there and just got beat up and everybody jumping on him. So he left. So she was crying because she said, this is what he does. And he didn't have a Zoom call. But he was ready to get out that hot seat. And so they were going to try to get him back to come back to the tell-all. And so they went on here to the next couple, which was Lauren and Faith. And so they asked them, are they together? And Lauren said, yes, we're together. We're back engaged. And it was like, really? Everybody was like, wow. Now, I'm not surprised that, I'm sorry, my allergies. I'm not surprised that Faith is back with Lauren. Because I felt like she still feel like perhaps he will buy her family a house. He mentioned all these things what he would do. And so they asked her, are you guys back together? And she said, yes. Are you guys engaged? And she was like, no. And Lauren was like, well, I had her engagement ring and I put it in this box because I sent over care boxes to her and her family. And I put the ring in the box, and some of the bums on the streets, the crackheads, opened the box and they took her ring. Now, do I believe that? Absolutely not, honey. Who knows what he did with that ring, honey? He might have sold it for whatever $2 he can get for it, okay? And so then Sean said to Faith, is that why you're saying you're not engaged because you don't have the ring? And she was like, no, I'm not engaged because we're not there. You know, we're back together. We just we're back together, but we're not there yet. And so she was like, oh, okay. So they started jumping in on Lauren, honey. And Lauren started saying that they asked him why they were broken up. I think they might have been why they were broken up for a week or so. I don't know if it was a week or a couple of weeks. Did you sleep with anybody? And he said, yes, I did. I slept with somebody. I slept with the woman that gave me the STD. How nasty can you be? Why would you go back to somebody that gave you an STD? And so everybody was, oh my God, oh, see, he ain't no good. Why you with Lauren? Why you want to be with Lauren? I mean, everybody was talking. Brian was talking. Adnan was talking. Niles was jumping in on it. And she said, she started looking real sad. And she was just looking sad. I love him. I love him. He's my first boyfriend, my first love. And I am so sick and tired of listening to her say she loved this man, honey. Love yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself. And so they said, well, Sean said, well, did you know he slept with this woman? And he was like, she knows. I told her. And she said, yes. And so they're saying, Niles was saying, you hurting her. Do you hear yourself and you smiling? What is that a smile about? And Anthony was like, right, why are you smiling? And you know, he always had that stupid smile on his face. And he said, I'm smiling not because I'm making fun of her or I think it's funny. It's because I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable with her up there looking sad, and I feel bad, and that's why I out of my nervous habit, I just smile. And that's probably true because he be looking stupid a whole lot. So that's probably true. And so they said, well, did she know that you were sleeping with other women? And so she was like, he said, I told her. I did. I texted her and I said, I'm sleeping with my friends. And so they end up bringing out one of his ex-girlfriends, and which is now his friend. And she comes out and she was like, well, you know, he's just one of those guys. He's very naive. He believes in the things he shouldn't believe in. He's taken advantage of all the time. And I told him, you need to tell her you sleeping with your friends. And he did. He texted her, you're sleeping with your friends. But when she didn't really respond the way she should have responded, I felt like I told him it's a language barrier and she's not understanding. And so they asked Faith, did you know he meant he was sleeping, having sex with his friends? And she said, no, I did not. If I said I'm sleeping with my friends, I wouldn't mean sex. And so the lady was like, well, I should have told him he should have been more clear. So now it was like, that's a grown man. You shouldn't have to tell him nothing. And Vanya was like, everybody was chiming in saying, it's not your job to tell him how he should tell his lady. He should know to be honest. So he said, I told her. And so I got the text to show it. And so she said he did say that, but of course I didn't know that's what he meant. So it went to, why would you sleep if you loved her sleeping with all these different women? So the lady, his friend was like, he is so naive. He will fall for I think it's called a scammy trip or something. She said he will fall for a scam or something like that. And so he said, yeah, I did fall for one. The way I got the ticket was that I was talking to a boy lady. I thought I was talking to a boy lady down there in the Philippines. And I was sending money. I sent so much money to this man, to the lady boy. And then I got a ticket, a one-way ticket. And then come to find out that was not a transgender. And that's what I thought the lady boy was. And so I said, oh my God, I still have this ticket. So I decided to go back online on the dating site. And that's when I saw Faith. And I figured I'd go see her. And so everybody was like, what? So you didn't buy the ticket for Faith. You was going down to see somebody else. Faith, did you know that? And she said, well, yeah, I did know about the fact that he was scammed and the lady owed him a lot of money. He did tell me that. And so they said, well, did you just go with Faith because she checked off she's a transgender and checked off she lives in the Philippines? And it was like, she said, no, but isn't she beautiful? That's why I liked her. She was beautiful. And so I came down there to visit her and I used that ticket. So it sounded like, no, she was a transgender. She lived in the Philippines and he had a goal to live in the Philippines. He didn't care 1 minute about Faith. But he says, well, I sent her money. I sent her about $8,000. And everybody was like, $8,000? How you do that? And he said, I eat in the trash. I eat out the trash. I stopped eating. And when he said that let me know this man have a mental health problem. Because he's able-bodied, okay? And he should be able to get some type of job. I don't care if you're slinging burgers at McDonald's. That's a job. And he's talking about he's not eating. And then when he eating out the trash to send her some money. How crazy can you sound? And so Sean was like, Faith, is that true? Did he give you $8,000? And she was like, no. He said, no. We can count it up. I gave you $2,000 the first time. Then I gave you another $2,000. And I just gave you this money and that money. I gave you that money. And so she said, well, he has been, I will say this, he's been very generous. He has been sending money. He said, and I send cleaning products and stuff to her. They said, you send it to her or her family? To her and her family. I've been doing all that I can. And I think that if she said, well, it's still in the bank. And he said, well, I had promised, said I will buy them a house. And so if Faith don't want to be with me, all Faith got to say, I don't want to be with you, and I'm done. I won't send her nothing again. So then Brian said to Faith, and that was a good question. He said, if he was not sending you money, would you be with him? And she was like, I didn't ask for the money. Nobody said that you asked for the money. Well, I didn't spend the money. Nobody said about you spending the money. If he did not send you money, would you be with him? And she said, well, I would be with him because I love him. I love him. And everybody was kind of like tripping that he asked that question, but I'm going to have to go with Brian. If that woman, if he was not sending money, she would not be with him. I don't care if that's her first love, if that's her first boyfriend. She will not be with him. She getting something out the deal, okay? And that's just what it is. And there's nothing wrong with it, because regardless about how much money you have, I wouldn't be with nobody if they couldn't give me nothing. that's just how it go. You know, so I'm not feeling like she's a scammer or anything. I just feel like she is looking for a better life. And there's nothing wrong with that. And so she's crying and everybody is on her and saying, Faith, you could do better than that. And some reason, I don't know, this dog, I'm sorry. One moment, my little dog is trying to get out this room, honey. Every time I sit up doing my videos, he want to leave the room. So, sorry about that. So, everybody is on Faith. Like, Faith, this man don't love you. He's a cheater and all of it. So then they show this clip where they're in a cab and he tells her that he drinks pee. It just grossed everybody out. Adnan was like, honey, I hate I shook your hand. That's nasty. And he was like, yeah, I drink pee. When a woman squirts, she's squirting out pee. And yes, I drink it. I'm freaky like that. I'm like, oh my God. What was the point of saying that? So they tell the friend she can go head on. She was standing up for him. Well, you know, he loves her. You know, he just didn't tell her the truth, all the truth. I told him he should have done that. Girl, get your behind off the stage. Take enough for this man. So everybody's saying he doesn't love you, Faith. Why you keep putting yourself through this? And she just cried. I love him. I love him. He's my first. And I just love him. He got some bad parts, but he got good parts. But the bad parts, he got a lot of the bad parts, but he is a good man. Girl, honey, I don't know if you're trying to get just be on TV. You want to be on TV and you playing with us like that? But she's not crying all because of love. I think she crying because she embarrassed. I just don't think she love that man like that. She wouldn't even have sex with him, honey. And then Niles was saying, they started talking about the knife, and Niles was like, you know doggone well what that looked like to that woman. You was wrong. You was wrong for doing that. He was like, well, I was nervous because of the news I got, and so I would have not hurt her. And Brian was like, you know what, I think she overreacted, and I believe she overreacted. I mean, who can get hurt with a butter knife in your hand? So, and I understand she's trans and she's used to men maybe jumping on her, but I honestly didn't think that the butter knife was something that she should have been afraid of. I don't see that. I think she overreacted as well. I mean, she was drinking too, honey. So maybe in those eyes, she saw a big butcher knife, but it was a butter knife. So I kind of agreed with Brian on that. I think that when she said stop and put the knife down, that's what he should have done. But I didn't think that he was going to stab her with a butter knife. And if she did get stabbed, I never heard nobody dying over a butter knife, honey. And at the end of the day, I think she overreacted, and she was drinking. He was drinking, you know. We don't know how long they was drinking. And so that's how it ended with them. They decided to give Faith a break, and then they went over to Adnan, and they went to Adnan and Tiger Lily. So they were saying to them, hey, you know, what happened with the prenup, post-nup that you were going to get, because Adnan made his brother power of attorney. And Tiger Lily was like, well, he undid it. He back paddle, pussy popping. He changed his ways, honey, after that woman said, listen, I'm going to do a postnum if that's the case. And so she said, everybody was like, well, it would be different if, well, this actually was coming from Vanya. She said it would be different if he could only have power of attorney on some things. But if it was for everything, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so he was like, well, I have a lot of assets and businesses over in the Middle East, and I was just doing it so he could do the things he needs to do to keep things going. And so then they was like, well, why are you, they said to Tiger Lily, do you think that he is controlling? And she was like, no, I don't think he's controlling. No, he's not. Well, what you think about him telling you what to wear and this and that? Well, I just wanted to get to understand, is this his culture or is this him saying this? What are the rules? I was just unclear, but I have no problems in doing some of the things he says. But I still will wear my bodycon dresses. I would still do that. I don't think that he's controlling. And so he said, there it is. I'm not controlling. I am not a controlling man. You guys don't know me. You don't know us. I'm not controlling. And so Vanya was like, well, what would you call it? You saying things got to go your way. You could wear your chest out. She kind of wear stuff way up to her neck and da 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 da. And he was like, mind your business. That's not what it is. That's not how it is. So they bought out Tiger Lily's friend. I believe he's her beautician, hairstylist. And he came out looking swagged. I liked his hair braided up and all of the things. And he had his glasses on. And they said, so what do you think about their marriage? And so he said, I think that he's controlling. I told her my feelings before they got married. I think that she should have waited before she had a baby. And he was like, why wait? Why should we have waited? And then people, Niles and everybody was like, why would you just get married and you didn't even know the man? You just the first time you saw him. And she said, because that's what I wanted to do. Nobody forced me. Nobody made me. That's what we wanted to do. And he was like, right, that's what we wanted to do. And we did it. And everybody was looking at him all crazy. And the guy was like, yeah, I warned her. I didn't think that she should have moved so quickly. I told her she needed a prenup and all of that. And so she said, well, yes, he did tell me that, but that's not what I wanted to do. And so they showed the picture of the baby. I think the baby's like 6 months or something years old. Don't quote me. And it was a beautiful baby. The outfit was so cute. And so it kind of got heated when they started saying that Adonai is just not right with his wife. The way he treats her is terrible. And honey, he was like, I'm out. So he gets up and everybody watch him storm off. And so then they gave Tiger Lily a break and they told everybody to take a break. Tiger Lily goes back to her man. And he's like, they're just jealous of us. They're jealous of me. They jealous of you. We got the best relationship. We got a baby. They jealous of us. And we got to stick together. She was like, she was acting unbothered. I'm unbothered. It's not bothering me. So if it's not bothering me, then it should not bother you. So he said, well, go out there and, hey, we together. So she goes back out there. And everybody's like, what happened to Adonai? And while she was by herself, they was questioning her. And they said, so you don't regret jumping in and marrying this man and all that? She was like, no, I don't. And so Adonai was in the back. See, she said what she wanted to say. I'm off the stage. I'm not listening or forcing her to say nothing. She said what she wanted to say. We're happy. They're jealous. And so they were saying, well, you did say, you had been saying that you was jealous, that he was that you felt like he was very controlling. You have said that. So he comes back to the stage, and then they run this clip on, she was talking to his mother, and his mother basically said she does not let her sons control their wives. That if you in their culture, yes, there's ways you're supposed to dress, but if you feel like that's not what you want to do, then hey, don't do it. Period. Nobody's going to force you to do anything. And so basically, the mother said, my son just wants a wife to dress a certain way, act a certain way. And it's not necessarily our culture, to a religion that makes us, that's why he's saying that. So she said, Tartar Lily, be you. Don't let him boss you. Don't let him control you. And so he was like, see, you guys, everybody was like, your mother even say it's not your religion or your culture. That's just how you are. And he said, no, that's not. You guys don't understand my mother because she's from another country. And they was like, no, your mother, we understood exactly what she said. So he is controlling. But obviously, Tiger Lily is okay with it. And she was in a controlling marriage. And she's okay with being controlled. But what I will say is this. When it came down to her money, she knew how to stand up. And she was like, no. Now you're doing some shady shit. And so I'm gonna put a posting up on your ass, is what she said. She stood 2 feet in the ground, and she made sure that he turned that power of attorney around. So she stood up when she needed to stand up. So evidently, she don't have a problem with it. And then that's what everybody started saying. Well, hey, she don't have a problem with it. And they said, well, why are you wearing that Muslim dress you got on? Brian was like, you covered from the top all the way down. And she was like, I just had a baby. And my body is not together. So I wanted to be covered up. And so Tiger Lily was like, well, all I know is, not Tiger Lily, Vanya was like, all I know is I wouldn't let no man control me and tell me what to wear and all of the things. And he was looking like, listen, you couldn't even control that dude up there on that screen, honey. Mind your business. I almost fell out when he said, you can't even control your man, honey. So how you gonna tell me about her man? So then they got off them, and then they went on over to Niles and Matilda. And I'm going to kind of keep this short and sweet because I don't want this video to be too long. They get over to Niles and Matilda, and they was like, Sean was like, well, how long has it been since you and Niles been together, seen each other? And it was 10 months. They said it was 10 months. And they was like, well, that's a long time, Niles. Why haven't you gotten Matilda? You were supposed to be back in five months. And he said, I don't have the money. Don't have the money. And so I think it was Vanya was like, well, can you tell me why your parents, I know you guys don't get along. They didn't agree with the marriage, but can you tell me why they can't help you? And Niles was getting smart, honey. Niles was like, listen, if you listen to the question you just asked me, you said, if you know my parents didn't get along, didn't approve the marriage, then why would they give me money? So there's your answer. And I was like, no, he didn't. I was getting smart and jazzy with everybody. And so then somebody said, well, why don't you go ask Mr. Art for some money? And he was like, I need to make a call to Mr. Art. And then they were like, well, is Matilda, is she going to help with the money? He said, well, we never talked about it, but now that it's bought up, Matilda, can you put some money in on it? And she looking like, honey, don't look at me, honey. Don't look at me. And she really didn't ever say nothing. And so Brian said, listen, may I ask why your parents didn't agree on the marriage. Why are they against the marriage? And he said, okay, should we tell Matilda? They think Matilda is a scammer. And she was like, I am not a scammer. I am not a scammer. I'm real. I'm real. Now, I've been telling y'all all along, she a scammer. I think she a scammer. And so did the parents. And so then Brian said, well, let's just say if you couldn't come over to the United States, would you, or if he lived in Germany or somewhere, would you have been interested in him? And she was like, if I love him, yes, I would have been interested. I love him. I'm not a scammer. And then he said, yeah, but you want to get over to the milk and honey in the United States. She said, I love him. If he wanted to stay here in Nigeria, I would be happy. Now that's a lie. Now that's a bold-faced lie. She said she can't wait to get out so she can come over here and help her family. She wants to come to the United States. So why she sat up there and lied, I don't know. She is a scammer. I believe that. I believe that. So Niles was getting upset. Niles was like, no, she loved me. We're in love. And so that's basically what happened with Niles and Matilda. And I'm going to go back. When they had their break, Brian was trying to give Adenine advice because he was like, hey, this is a young man. He has a chip on his shoulder. He's angry. And he was like, listen, I'm not going to listen to nobody in the wheelchair. And everybody was like, what? He said that? And then he said, you were drunk. You sold drugs. You cheated on your wife. Can't nobody on this stage give me no advice, honey. Nobody. Ain't nobody on this stage got a good relationship, especially you, Brian. You sitting up drunk, and I'm supposed to listen to you. You was an alcoholic. You was a drug dealer. You were a liar. You a cheater. I mean, they went on and on. And so then they really didn't talk to Brian, and I don't believe they talked to Brian and Ingrid yet. That's going to happen next week, I do believe. But that's basically, it ended where Niles stood up. I believe he was standing up to Adenine and ready to fight, honey. Ready to fight. He was standing there. Eyes was looking like this, and I said, honey, Matilda was like, sit down, calm down. And so it looked like it's going to be on next week. So that's all I have. That's all I got. I hope you enjoyed this review. And thank you for watching my channel.